Queens get the money, dollar bills, y'all. What's going on? Welcome back to another episode of the We Got Y'all. Yep, of the We Got Y'all podcast. It's your girl
Mhm.
Ray P, and of course, I'm not alone. I am joined by my amazing, accomplished rider, road dog, Uncle Kai. What's going on, K
Yes.
Rich?
What's happening, right, P? I'm the shooter, y'all. You know what I'm saying?
The shooter.
I'm the shooter. I'm in the background, and just in case shit pop off, Rachel too important to hold the gun, so I got it for her. You know what I mean? But yeah, Ray, how you feeling?
I feel good. I feel good. I feel sleepy, but very, very, very good. How are you?
I'm feeling great. It's been a fun day, fun evening of recording with you. This is our recording number two, because we do multiple things, man. We multitask. We
Amazing.
appreciate y'all for tuning in to We Got Y'all Television Podcast. Two shows. Speaking of two chains, White Lotus.
Yes.
We're already in it. Four
Yes.
episodes in. Two episodes of We Got Y'all. Four total episodes of the show.
Yeah.
It is on the feed right now, and long awaited. Y'all been waiting for it. I'll never forget, Rachel, when we did the middle of season 3 of Raising Kanan. We
Mhm.
kind of had that discussion, which happens from time to time. We recently did it with Paradise. It's one of those like, man, we
We
should have
should.
done this show.
Yeah.
And we had a conversation about season 3 of Raising Kanan, and I'll never forget how many people hit me up. I love this episode. I love what y'all's talking about. Y'all got to talk about the new season. Oh, we was gonna do that anyway. But that's just how I am.
That's just how I am.
That's just how I am. So we knew we was doing season 4,
For
and
sure.
things are tricky right now with 50 and stars. A lot of things we've been waiting on. Obviously, he wants to get out of that deal. So you see Ghost end. They announced the final season of Force. But not
Hmm.
only is Raising Kanan still going strong, season 5 has already been announced. So the story is still going. Now, I do think if season 5 is probably going to be it,
Hmm.
but it has been announced. What are you going to say, Rachel?
It might be a season 5 of Raising Canaan. However, aside from the fact that 50 may or may not want to get out of that Stars deal, Raising Canaan is the best show in the
Easily.
Powerverse spinoff.
Easily.
So shout out to Diamond and them. Shout out to Regan and them. But Big Canaan is the one. It's the
It's the
one,
one.
not the two, as far as the spinoffs go. So I'm not at all surprised that it was already greenlit for season 5.
Yeah, that's a great point because, well, before we get into this conversation, if you haven't watched the premiere episode, there will be spoilers and explicit content. Hopefully, everybody uncanceled those Star subscriptions.
Yeah.
Um, but yeah, that's interesting because you're right. You're absolutely right. Power's a funny thing. So the original Power, the first,
Mhm.
I'd say 3 seasons,
First 3
were
seasons. Yeah.
really, really good. Around the time Raina getting shot is when you're like, but it's still entertaining. Shout out to Alonzo Training Day, man. It's 90% bullshit, but it entertains me. Power
Yeah.
kind of turned into that, and we embraced the ridiculousness of it
Hmm.
because it was still entertaining and the acting was still good. And
Yeah.
that's the same with Ghost, right? A lot of this shit is so unrealistic, but you just skip it because you just want to turn your brain off and
Hmm.
watch this. Raising Kanan, on the other hand, you have the benefit of having an origin story, right? So we know how the story ends, so you can build this world into how did Kanan become Kanan. The acting, and I know we always sing Patina Miller's praises, as we should. Patina
Hmm.
Miller is just, I want to see her in more things. I mean,
Yeah.
she is incredible
Hmm.
at this role. London Brown, Malcolm
Right.
Mays. Like London Brown,
Yeah.
if you would have told me when I first started watching Ballers
Hmm.
that this was going to be somebody that I was like, yo, give him more.
Yeah.
London Brown is Uncle Marvin
Hmm. Hmm.
right up there. Like, I don't
Perfect.
know what they have to do to start getting awards, whether it be from NAACP Image Awards, whatever the case is. Shout out to Michael Rainey because he just won one for his
Yeah.
performance in Ghost. So if they're acknowledging them, they have to acknowledge it. We gotta get Patina, London Brown, Malcolm Mays, all of them. So speaking of the principal cast, since this is our first episode, we'll talk about it. Patina
Hmm.
Miller is Raquel Thomas. Mekhi Curtis is Kanan Stark. London Brown is Marvin Thomas. Malcolm Mays is Lou Thomas, or Lulu as they call him. Helly Kilgore, who we didn't even mention as well. Incredible as Jukebox. And then you have Joey Badass, Joseph Bodman as Unique. Book 3 is obviously a spinoff of the
Yeah.
Power Universe created by Sasha Penn. And we're in this world of 1991 and beyond, early 90s. How did Kanan become Kanan? And the show is just captivating. Some of the best. I don't think they miss with the voiceover yet. When
Not at all.
50 comes at the beginning, at the end of the episodes, given his game and his knowledge, those voiceovers, they
Yeah.
hit every single time. They tie in perfectly. They
Mhm.
know who they are, and they keep riding this wave. And there is that nostalgia feel that you get from watching this, of what the night. Even though we didn't grow up in 90s New York, we still know the lingo. We know the cars in our head. We we was on our Eric B shit. Yeah, you know what I'm saying? New York Undercover, man. New Jersey Drive, all this other shit, man. So
Yeah.
I want to ask you, Rachel. Well, before I do, let me make sure I give some proper credit. Episode
sure.
1 is titled Gangstas Don't Die, as you can
Mhm.
see in the description. Directed by the legend Mario Van Peebles.
Hmm.
Written by Sasha Penn and Albert Menace. Synopsis of the episode.
Yeah.
Unique endures a painful recovery fueled by hate and vengeance as other untold narratives unfold around him, filling the gaps leading up to the deadly showdown in the season 3 finale. Rachel, we have a flashback to kind of literally see, before we see the shocking events of the
Yeah.
finale, how do we even get there?
Mm-hmm.
Where's Unique been for all these episodes, right?
Mm-hmm.
What were your opening thoughts on the premiere of season 4?
I loved this episode. I thought that it opened the season beautifully. I like that it was not just a replay of the finale, but literally the entire season 3. It comes in, you've already seen all of this shit, but not
Mm-hmm.
the way you think you saw it. And that is so real, not just in this show's verse, but in life.
Yep.
Yeah, you seen it, but it's some more shit to that you did not see. And I just thought that the writers did an excellent job peeling back all the layers of what each of our central characters were experiencing in season 3 to open us up for season 4. What about you?
You literally took the notes right off my page, honestly, because the parallel between that line and what life is. Because there's been so many times when you look at life, some funny shit happens, and then you go back in your memory bank and like, oh,
Yeah.
you make the weebay face.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
You make the weebay face like, oh shit.
Yeah.
It was like this the whole time, and I love it. That's how things are always in front of you, depending on your perspective and how you want to look at it.
Mm-hmm.
Right? So I just love the fact that they did it. I'm a big fan of flashback episodes.
Yeah.
I think that's a big reason, even if you don't do it all the time. We obviously start 3 months prior to the finale of season 3. I think that's a big part of the reason why Paradise kind of stood out, because you are mixing in before and after. It's like, yes, we're here. I always talk about on Culture Garden about being dropped in this world.
Yeah.
But now let's get a little context of what's going on. Like, how do we actually get to where we are now without really spending a season building up to it? Let's just give you little flashbacks here and there because, as you said, Rachel, that's how life is.
That's
right?
it.
Sometimes things just go. You look back at certain things like, damn, the dots are starting to connect. And it takes it from there. So I wonder, and I'm pretty sure, I would imagine that they filmed all of this at the same time as season 3. Maybe they knew how they wanted to open season 4, or did they get everybody back, after season 3 wrapped and said, you know what, we're going to bring you back for one more episode, but it's going to be a flashback. I'm just curious as to how they did that. I don't know.
I would love to know.
I would love to know that. And trust me, I looked. I searched, and I can't find an answer. I will find the answer before everything's said and done. But yeah, I thought that was pretty dope.
I love that.
So let's go ahead and get into it. So the way we have this broken down so far, obviously, we're going to go with the television show. We can only talk about what they give us. So we're going to go through a couple different phases. We'll talk about Unique. We'll talk about the Thomas family. And then we'll talk about some random miscellaneous things. Some things that, you know what, they didn't even address this in this episode, but we need to be looking out for it this season. So let's go ahead and talk about the main character of who this was built around, which is Unique.
Yes.
We knew, I can't remember exactly what episode in season 3 that Ronnie hit Unique and left him for dead. We
Mm-hmm.
did not know that Unique was still alive until the finale. But
Mm-hmm.
even then, if you remember, Rachel, and maybe it's just me,
No,
the
they
way the
allude.
finale ended made it seem like he was a part of it. Like it almost makes it seem like maybe he helped out Raq and Kanan because they shoot Ronnie, they
Yes.
shoot Howard,
Mm-hmm.
and then you see the episode end with Unique staring over the body.
Right.
And I'm thinking, okay, then obviously he's here because he has something to do with it. Well, no. We find out in episode 1 of season 4 that Unique is plotting. I'm
Yes.
not helping them. I'm after these
I'm
niggas.
after them. I'm on a revenge tour my damn self because he, again, to the point of the intro soliloquy, is not seeing the full picture. He's only
Mm-hmm.
getting pieces, and we see him throughout the episode with his caretaker get
Yeah, early.
get pieces of the story. Yes, it is true that Ronnie is working with with Kanan. Yes, it is true that Raq is getting work from evil Tony Danza. Yes.
Shout out to Evil. Shout out to Evil Tony Danza.
All of these things are true, but it's not the way you understand them. And that is what we get when we see this. I love this. um the veterinarian who early takes Unique to be cared for and essentially brought back once he claws his way from the depths of the bottom of Sugar Hill. I don't know.
Yeah. Yeah.
um
Uh,
he comes back and
uh,
he says, when you experience a TBI like this, like, one, this ain't the place for him to be being cared for and being treated. Like, you actually need some real ass shit to bring him back, but you need to be mindful and understand that even with you caring for him and nursing him back to health, quote unquote, with the level of injury that we're seeing, this is not going to be the same motherfucker that you knew. It
mm-hmm.
is highly, highly, highly unlikely that he goes back to being that. We have to put dogs down when they come back from such vicious attacks because they become essentially feral and wild.
Mm-hmm.
Or
Very good point.
foreboding.
I was about to say message. That is letting you know exactly what to expect from Unique.
Mm-hmm.
Um, in all seriousness, there's not really a ton that Unique is doing other
Yeah.
than putting those pieces together.
Mm-hmm. So
Um,
he.
like go ahead, like you said, Rachel. The intro even told us not
Mm-hmm.
everything is what it appears. We saw it, but we didn't see it the way we were supposed to, and that's exactly what you
Yeah.
described. Unique is seeing everything.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, that's why we always use the phrase two things can be true.
For sure.
It's a little bit
For
more
sure.
to the story. And once again, I just thought the whole time that Unique was in on it, and now I'm figuring out, nah, he's trying to figure this shit out too. And we see things such as him getting his strength back.
Yeah.
Early, who's an interesting character played by Chris Redd. Chris Redd is a comedian.
Yeah.
So it's interesting to see him in this role. However, I'm curious as to what I'm assuming you have to know. This must be the spot, right? This must be the body spot.
Mm-hmm.
If we ever got to get a nigga, if we ever get a nigga up out of here, this is where we take him,
Yeah.
right? Because that's the only way I can imagine. That Unique knew where to go and early knew where to pick him up. He must have said, "Remember, this is the 90s. This is no care my location shit, none of that, bro. Like you got to know really." And they in the middle of the woods, so it kind of is what it is. We see Unique trying to plot, trying to put the pieces together. As you said, we get the foreshadowing of he's not going to be the same person. We get his strength back. He gets the gun. Almost get Lulu up out of here.
Mm-hmm. Lulu drunk ass
And
was a goner.
to the point where I almost forgot that we ended season 3 with Lulu taking his ass to rehab. Lulu thought that Raq was about to get him up out of here. Raq and Marvin. But yeah, Lulu drunk ass is out here wilding. Shout out to I can't remember her name, who owns the bar, for realizing like, bro, you can't drive like this, man. Come on, what
Yeah.
you doing? What you doing, Lou? Like, stop this shit. But really, I'm just curious to know. Oh, I guess we'll talk about it when we get to Raq. I'm just curious to see how this is going to go for Unique, and at what point is this going to turn into a full-on war, or is he going to realize that, you know what, this ain't exactly what I thought it was, or will it matter because, as you mentioned, Rachel, he's not the same person anyway. I don't know.
I don't think it's going to matter, and we're going to get a war
Yeah, war's
because
happening.
there's no reasoning with somebody whose mind is gone, who feels as though you manipulated me up out of my shit and you used my blood brother to do so. Not only did you use my blood brother to get me up out of here, so you thought, but now y'all kill that nigga so that y'all can be on top. When he was ranting too early, he says this is what she do. And candidly, when she get with, she did this with DEFCON, she did this with High Note, this and the third. She manipulate them into fucking with you and then take what you got. Early does not know the extent of Unique and Raq's relationship. So he like, y'all really want to fuck with each other like that? He didn't know that bitch was great with Child. Neither does Unique. Yep. But it's a lot to it. So I don't think that it's going to matter because you've taken everything from me. You've taken my business. You've taken my connect. As he's trying to will himself back to life, he's these is my streets. These is my blocks. All you care about is the life. So your sole reason, not even I got to get back to Panessa and my son. These is my blocks.
Didn't mention them niggas at all. And you saw, you in the car, you see Ronnie leaving out the crib with old girl from the bodega. That's your house. So not once do you say like, damn, where are my peoples? Are they okay? Now, I don't know if maybe he's using Early's advice, because Early said the biggest advantage you got right now is you a ghost. Which is interesting, you know, use of words. But you're a ghost right now, so that's the biggest advantage. Move low. Everybody think you dead and gone, my nigga. Yep. Figure it out. Yeah. I don't know what's gonna happen and how he's gonna put this together. But to your point, there is gonna be a war, because even if he connects these dots and figures out it's not what he thinks it is, when you that fucked up, especially by your family, you start to believe what you want to believe, or you believe what makes you feel better about this.
That part.
And
that part.
If you are that fucked up, the same way Unique is, it really doesn't matter. To quote Slim Charles, it don't matter who did what to who at this point.
Yep.
Somebody got to get this anger that I'm feeling about being left for dead.
Yeah.
And yeah, I might have started hitting that last season. But we also been trying to kill each other for a long time.
That part.
And I can revert back to that emotion very quickly. I can go back to that. It can be.
I can go back. Trust that.
Because think about it. My own brother, who I welcomed to my house after being locked up, can do this to me. How the fuck am I supposed to trust anybody? So even if you are telling me the truth, I don't believe you no way, Raq.
Yep.
And I'm about to make sure I get to the bottom of this, and I'm about to clean out everybody that I can. So Unique is only going to get stronger as this season goes along.
Yes.
And I'm very interested in seeing how they navigate this whole thing.
Yeah.
So, like I said, not a big, like, scene by scene thing. It's more so just, hey, this is where Unique's been the past few months. This is what he's been plotting on. Obviously, it's going to unveil itself as the season goes along. I don't know if I mentioned this. We get a full 10 episodes this season, so
good.
We'll be here for the ride. Let's talk about this Thomas family, Rachel. You want to talk about Marvin? You want to talk about Kanan? You want to talk about Raq? You want to talk about Juke? Not really a ton to say about Lou.
I love the Thomas family.
I love their dysfunctional asses.
They are dysfunctional. We understood, we knew that their father passed in the first 3 seasons, but I don't think I knew that he unalived himself until this episode. Did you know that?
Yeah. No, I was not aware of that.
So we have this family in learning. We met their mother last season, fine, but in this we learn that Elijah Thomas unalived himself, but he was a man of many things. We understand that that is why and how Marvin became a man. And while he was resentful of that and of his father for putting him in that position, we got to understand the relationship that all of them essentially had with their father, and that he was a man who was a hustler. So they get it honest. Even if he wasn't in the game, he did a little bit of everything. He was putting niggas down. He was beating ass. He's playing the trumpet. He's doing 50, 11 things. And while we don't get the anecdotal background from Raq that we get from Lou and Marvin, we do know that she's the favorite. Of course she is. She's the only girl.
Yeah.
Of course she's her dad's favorite. And she and her mother have a soured relationship. Of course she's the favorite. We know that. Tale as old as time. But I love that. This is the first time also niggas love that granny. This is the first time, despite everything we've seen over the last 3 seasons, that Kanan is a child and he is the grandchild. You know what I'm saying? He is still just a 16-year-old boy who loves his granny, who can't do no wrong in his granny's eyes, who has feelings about her own children. But them grandbabies, curious how she might feel about Juke. But for this one right here, whatever you want. It's my job to dote on you. It's my job to shower you with praises and this, and the third. I'm not your mother. I don't have unrealistic expectations of you. I love that. And we see Kanan's demeanor, his posture, his essence just be different with his grandmother. He's not putting on airs. He's not trying to be the boss. He's not doing anything but just being a little boy at his granny house listening. It's no surprise for anybody who is the grandmama is the baby, a favorite grandchild, that you're the one who gets the call in the hospital. You're the one who I tell the secret to. You know what I'm saying? We talk about soul food. Marvin's relationship. He's the one who got the secrets, who got the extra sauce, the extra treatment, the special treatment, this and the third. And we really got to see that with Kanan, and I appreciated it.
Grandma got the number to the trap house.
Come on. She
called the trap house to get a hold of him. I'm so thankful. Nah, that's real. I'm so thankful that you pointed out the fact that, she'll never get that phone number. Yellow pages. White pages, excuse me. We're still in the white pages era. But I'm so happy that you pointed out the fact that, because I thought this when I was watching it. Oh, Kanan is a child, and this is really starting to make sense how Kanan ended up being Kanan.
Yes.
Like, all of this is starting to make sense.
Yes.
Season by season, episode by episode. You look at it and like, yo, you never really had a chance. Like, you were who you gonna be. You was who you was, so you got here, as they say.
Yeah.
And your environment definitely put you on a fast track to this life that you're living and that we knew you to be in the Power series.
For sure.
Kanan writing his paper on his grandfather, obviously, I'm sure most people would agree, the most fascinating part and the most intriguing part is you're getting different perspectives from different people.
Yeah.
And his grandmother set the tone by saying,
somebody different.
Yes, as you go around getting different anecdotes, you're going to hear different things. This is how I saw him. This is what I experienced.
Yeah.
As somebody who, as she mentioned, he didn't really like me all that much. You know what I mean? Even though we had these kids, we had these children and everything else, he didn't really like me that much.
Yeah.
We know that it's a great reminder for those who forgot. social worker got involved because Raq made sure that shit happened because she
Yeah.
wanted Kanan home. So he
Mm-hmm.
has to do this stuff. He can't ignore this. So he's forced to go ahead and write this paper. Interesting that he went to his dad, Howard.
Yeah.
His dad was
Crazy.
like, "Yo, my nigga, you can't like, nah, we don't go." I will say this: that's there for a reason.
Yes, for sure.
Howard's family at some point is going to come into play, or maybe the news that Kanan is really Howard's son. Not really sure, but that throwaway scene wasn't necessarily a throwaway scene. I think that once again, some foreboding as to what we might get when it comes to that. What's up?
It's not a throwaway. Again, at the top of the episode, and as we flash back to the finale, and I don't think, again, two things can be true. We see things differently, different perspectives. I don't think when I watched the finale of season 3, I paid attention to Kanan when Raq shot Malcolm.
Mm-hmm.
As we flash back and Gangstas Don't Die, I realized how Kanan's face changed when Raq shot Malcolm.
Mm-hmm.
We see in this episode, Malcolm's like, we gonna figure us out. We're gonna figure it out. No, I can't give you this story of my family, this, that, and the third, but I will give you the information that you need to have at some point. We'll figure out our relationship. Now, having that information that we didn't have last season, that look in Kanan's face is the look of loss. This is my father. You had me try to kill this nigga, and I just thought he was some crazy cop. Find out he's my dad. Start to build a relationship. This nigga gets me out of trouble like a father does. I've never had one. All I have is a mom and 2 uncles. And Marvin, that first season, was tricky as fuck. Marvin had a redemption
Super.
story. Lulu
Yep.
was the one, but he's still uncle. Here is Malcolm Howard, somebody who seemingly moves different than my family, who does things differently. On his surface is on the up and up, even though he was fucking a child as an undercover cop.
Hey now.
and,
Hey now.
and, and maybe had gotten Raq pregnant before.
Definitely have that mentioned, but hey now.
Again. And so here is the loss of that information. So I think that the loss of that relationship. So I think it's important. It's not a throwaway, to your point. I would be very interested if Malcolm's family comes around. I did not get the impression that he had any.
Yeah, I think they mentioned. Wait, remember because he had cancer. And I
Yes.
think they might have mentioned a sister or something of that nature. We never saw any family, but I'm
Yeah.
pretty sure there was a mention of family.
Mm-hmm.
But nothing that will make you, think twice about it.
Think twice about it. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Also, would not shock me if Malcolm had a contingency plan. One of those, if something happens to me, like, so he gave somebody one of those, if anything ever happens to me, open this letter up type of things.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
I don't know. I'm not saying it is happening, but I'm just saying it wouldn't shock me if that's the case. And yes, we get a Raq and Kanan scene, which is actually a very good scene in this episode. Mm-hmm. But I had to remember, because of all the contention between those two, this is a flashback scene. We still don't know after I killed Ronnie because he shot at you. Because you're still my mom's. I'm not gonna let nobody fuck with you. But I'm thinking I'm doing the right thing. You killed my dad, to which you beautifully explained. I feel a way about that. I have no idea how present day relationship between Kanan and Raq is going to look like. And that's the one thing I can't wait to see when we get to episode 2.
Yeah. I would love to know. Ooh. Yeah, I'm very curious about that.
That's a weird thing, man, because like you said, he had no idea that Howard's about to get rocked. And would have definitely would have objected to it had he known that that was the plan. Now, remember, for those who didn't go back and watch season 3, the reason Howard got rocked is because the heat was coming on him, and he wanted to pin it on Marvin.
Correct.
So Raq, even though, well, she's been trying to kill Howard, but it got to the point where, all right, then now that he knows you his dad, I can't be the woman that
Yeah.
kills my son's father, knowing that he knows. But if it means keeping my brother out of jail, then that's just what's gonna happen. I'm gonna frame you for all that shit, and we're just gonna do it like that.
And that's exactly it. If this is what I'm saying about the Thomases, it's dark side eye.
Yeah.
It's us against y'all. Period.
Mm-hmm.
And that
Always.
is what Howard did not understand. And I can understand you. See, you a cop. Yeah, you probably are from Queens or somewhere adjacent, another borough. You don't understand what this is though. We are locked
Mm-hmm.
in and it ain't no switching up. I can
Mm-hmm.
appreciate you are Kanan's father. I appreciate the heads up. I appreciate that you have looked out for him in his legal troubles and his friends. Shout out to Famous. Howsoever, we don't share, I mean, we share blood via Kanan, but my blood, that's what matters. Unfortunately, you are disposable. I'm not choosing you in whatever cockamamie idea you have over my brother.
Mm-hmm.
That's the character arc he's had.
I've been trying to get rid of you anyway.
I've been trying to get you the fuck out of here
Matter
because
of fact, matter of fact, it's my pleasure to take your ass up out of here.
that's it. And in the lowest of keys, I might blame you for some of this shit that we got going on.
Yeah,
So you
very much
really
so.
gotta get the fuck up out of here.
Every time Rock sees Howard, she's reminded that a very large portion of her life is a lie
Yes.
that she has to keep. I
Yes.
have to tell my son
Mm-hmm.
that DEFCON's his dad.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
I have to make sure the streets know that I was fucking with DEFCON. I can't tell anybody that I was fucking with this cop.
Yeah.
There's so many things that we know how it goes, man. Lies on top of lies on top of lies.
Mm-hmm.
That shit
Mm-hmm.
gets real overbearing.
For
That
sure.
weight gets real heavy over time.
Real
And
heavy.
even though Rock carries it well, she is who she is because she had to adapt because of situations like this. So I
Yeah.
don't really think it was anything to her to go ahead. I don't think she's losing an ounce of sleep. I don't think, if anything, it's more so how's Candy gonna think about this. That's it. She does not care.
Go ahead.
No, no, no. I was gonna say she does not care about anything else about putting Howard down. Go ahead.
It don't even matter what Kanan thinks about her. We've learned in the flashback that it does not matter how you feel about me because I love you enough. I love you that much.
Mm-hmm.
I don't care if you hate me. I don't care if you don't fuck with me, you don't like me. I love you. You're my son, and that's that. I put your daddy down. So what? I did it for you. I did it for us, me, my brother, my son, my niece, period. It don't matter.
Talk about Patina Miller and her acting just very briefly. It don't take you to love me for me to love you back. It's a
That's
fucking
it.
bar.
That's it.
And the way that Patina Miller delivered it,
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
100% truth. Like she believed everything she was saying right now. I don't give a fuck if you ever talk to me again, nigga. I'm gonna love you the same. And
That's
guess
it.
what? 10 times over, if it means protecting you or dropping a nigga, I'm
Yep.
dropping that nigga, and
I'm
it's not even
dropping
a
that.
thought.
Yep.
Not even a thought. I want to wrap. I want to go back to the paper.
Okay.
So we get Lou and his, his story, his perspective. Pretty
Mm-hmm.
much, long story short, I understand now that I am the way that I am, why he did what he did. Because Lou is
Mm-hmm.
fucked up out here. So he sees the bad side of it. He sees the downside. I see that some people call it the easy way out.
Yeah.
I'm not going to say it, but the easy way out, some people refer to it as. And you know what? Me and our dad, and that's the beautiful thing, right? Since their dads did so many things, and as Shannon's grandmother said, he had that belief in him that he
Mm-hmm.
could do all these things, which is why he did it. Since he did all these things, each one of his children has a piece of him that is
That.
very intimate.
Really.
The creative part, right? Lou even said it. Marvin and Rock can't understand that part of him. Even your grandmother can't understand because I got that.
Yeah.
That's only a language me and him can understand.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe Juke to some degree,
Yeah.
right? But I'm the only one that really can understand the pain that he was going through. You know, the
Mm-hmm.
tortured artist, that
Yeah.
whole thing that we see Lou. Like, I get it. It was a cool scene. I didn't really need the scene. That was Famous' sister, right? That came
Yes.
back.
Yes.
Cool, whatever. I'm sure that's going to come back up in the series.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, but really, and we talked about it, Rachel. We talked about why Raising Kanan is so good
Yeah.
and what separates it from. And I own you, nigga, in season 3. Scenes like that.
Uh-huh.
That's why the show is so good. The scene with Marvin and Kanan, put it on the highlight, put it on the reel for the
Yeah.
awards.
Yeah.
Like when they run the reel tape, that's the scene because there's so many things to unpack.
Mm-hmm.
First of all, neither Rachel nor myself are older siblings. Like the oldest sibling should I not?
Yeah.
Because hold on, let me make sure I say this correctly. Not older, the oldest. That's a different type of life.
For
My
sure.
dad was the oldest of 5.
Mm-hmm.
My grandmother had my dad at 16.
Ooh. Mm-hmm.
Very interesting relationship. Okay.
Yeah.
Loved my grandmother dearly. Like my dad loved her more than anything. Don't play about his mom, my grandmother, none of that, right? However, he did tell me there were a lot of times growing up where we felt like siblings more than mother son.
Mm-hmm.
I bared a lot of responsibility. I see some of my younger siblings being able to be children, being able to be youth because I'm the one that's looking after them in certain ways when
Yes.
I didn't have the same opportunity. I had to grow up very, very fast, very
Mm-hmm.
quickly,
Mm-hmm.
right? Marvin is expressing that same thing in this scene.
Yes.
The
Yes.
same things I love about my pops, I hate about my pops, right?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Incredible acting by London Brown.
Yes.
Burdened with the most responsibility, as we said, as that older sibling. I had to grow up. My dad, the way I view him, I know Leo sees a sentimental artist. I know your grandmother sees this other thing. I saw a nigga that gave up and checked out.
Yeah.
Young boys, it's always said your dad is your hero, right?
Mm-hmm.
That's the first hero. That's the first Superman. And I just think that really when he talked about when Kanan asked him, well, first of all, Marvin set a bar. He left his problems and he made more for us.
Yeah.
Abandoning the family, we don't have to go into that. We can really get super, super deep and super into um, a lot of things that we're not going to get into this episode, right? Kanan's listening to him, trying to figure it out, and said, well, damn, don't you got any good memories? And the Marvin's next part is incredible. Of course I have good memories. That's why it hurts so bad,
Yeah.
right? He talked about his dad prize fighting. And to see a grown man go back to being 9, 10, 11 years old, as I'm sure Marvin was when his dad was taking him to these prize fights, you know what that's like for a little nigga? Saying your pops do that to another man? I felt like his muscles was my muscles,
Yeah.
right? Because of all this, because of that super idea of invincibility that I can do anything in the world because
Mm-hmm.
I'm seeing my dad just knocking niggas out left and right, taking what he wants.
Yeah.
Once I experience that and you leave, I can never forgive you.
Yeah.
You
Yeah.
ruined my life. You fucked me up. Incredible scene, incredible acting. Man, powerful.
Powerful. Powerful.
No
And
pun.
it's no pun. And it's very interesting that Marvin is the muscle.
Mm-hmm.
Because again, to your earlier point, we all have taken something from him. Marvin is
Mm-hmm.
the muscle. He's who you call to get some work done, to beat a
Mm-hmm.
motherfucking ass, to shoot some shit up, whatever. He's the one. Now that he's sober,
Straight up.
and dealing with his, I didn't even think about him selling the work back in the day, him getting hooked on drugs again,
Mm-hmm.
dealing with the pain that we have. addiction. Here's Lou and alcohol. Marvin on that white girl, or whatever he was
Mm-hmm.
on back in the early 80s. Probably crack.
Mm.
Who knows?
A
But
lot of niggas from the 80s got them table habits. Let's put it like
it,
that.
it- exactly. So it all matters and it all comes full circle. But that was probably one of my favorite scenes in this
100%.
episode was the Marvin unraveling um, of the story of Elijah Thomas.
And as we move on, you're reminded that the life that they live, they don't have moments where they just stop and reflect.
Yeah.
Like, who knows when the last time, and I'm sure that's something you carry with you every day. When's the
Mhm.
last time you actually said that out loud? There's that's why, all right, if you've never been to therapy, for anybody out there, a lot of people you talk to, their first time going to therapy, what you might hear is, I was boohooing in that motherfucker. A lot of people, because it's not like they're new thoughts or new feelings, but for a lot of people, it's your first time saying it out loud.
Out loud. Yeah.
And when you say it out loud and you realize how real it is, the emotion just overwhelms you and that shit just starts flowing, right? Healthy
Mm-hmm.
cries, like all types of stuff. Let that shit out. So for Marvin to actually sit there, and it's one thing to think about this, yeah, I missed this, or damn, I'm fucked up about this, but to say it out loud and tell your nephew about it, it's like, damn, you
Mm-hmm.
don't get the grace or that opportunity to really sit with your feelings, because if I lose track for 1 second, my life could be over. I live in way too dangerous of a life, and I just think that's very interesting and fascinating. Um,
Let me ask
Go ahead.
you,
Yeah,
prediction. Do we get family dinners this season? At the restaurant,
and
all of us are shooting the shit.
you get the rock about that big ass crib. We gotta have family dinners over here,
We got to have at least
unless, yeah, you do, because she doesn't know Unique is still alive. So Unique knows where she lives.
correct.
But she don't know he's alive. So yeah, I was gonna say, if she knew that he was after her, she wouldn't even put the family in that sitting duck position. But
Mhm.
yeah, at the restaurant, no, I think shit's too hot right now
Okay.
for them to be at the restaurant. I
Okay.
think there was even mention about them needing to be. Remember the lawyer? Her lawyer told her,
Hmm.
even though it's a flashback, like keep your nose clean. Right, nigga, they after you. They broke in the crib, if you remember season 3. The cops
Yeah.
did not broke in, but raided it.
Hmm.
While Unique was there and everything else, if I'm not mistaken. So it is what it is there. Um, Go ahead.
I want to talk about Rock. You since you brought up her and the lawyer, I want to talk about Rock at the precinct, unbeknownst to Malcolm Howard,
Mm-hmm.
setting her story straight, laying traps and breadcrumbs.
Mm-hmm.
Another reason Malcolm had to get the fuck up out of here.
Mm-hmm.
What do you think Rock was in there telling them people?
Whatever she had to make Howard look, maybe not look. So Rock is smart.
She is.
She knows that I can't come in here. At the end of the day, Howard's a police officer.
For sure.
That code of the blue is real,
Yeah.
right? She knows I can't come in here with my reputation and start pointing all these accusations,
Hmm.
but I can do just enough to raise a little bit of doubt. Once again, what's the theme of this episode, Rachel? You saw this before, but you was looking at it wrong.
That's it. That's it.
I'm putting enough information to where when this shit goes down, when they find Howard's body, now they think about these conversations I'm having, like, oh,
Yeah.
maybe she was telling the truth. Maybe
Yeah.
there is something. It makes it more believable
Hmm.
versus. So when you show up to that scene, instead of saying, hey, we got a cop killer, we got, hey, Howard was a dirty cop.
The dirty cop,
And he was
which
dirtier than what we thought. And maybe Howard really did kill his partner, which he did.
exactly what I was about to say.
Yep.
Yeah. Yeah.
Because remember, her dad was at his neck.
For sure. And he's top ranks in the brass, retired, but he's somebody whose opinion and whose name still carries weight.
Mm-hmm. Wouldn't be shocked if we get another flashback scene sometime this season with Howard, because like I said earlier, there's got to be a contingency plan. There's got to be some kind of note. There's got to be something that says unlock the truth. And I just think we're gonna see maybe that play out in another flashback scene. That's just my 2 cents. I could be wrong. Been wrong before. We'll see what happens.
I could see that. And was that this season or this episode where we saw Howard return to the mosque?
No, that
He
was last season.
that was a flashback from last season. Okay, I
Yes.
was gonna say I could have sworn I saw him on his knees. Happy Ramadan to everybody.
Yeah, man. Yeah, absolutely, absolutely, man.
Um,
Um,
I love Rock. Since we're talking about Rock, I
yeah, yeah, yeah.
love she and Juke's relationship. First off, even before I get there, we learned that Rock was pregnant with Unique's baby, and I've been thinking about this all day in preparation for this. You
Okay.
know, we're 38. I can say that we're 38.
Mm-hmm.
Thinking about Rock getting pregnant by this little nigga, I'm not sure that Rock is even 38 at this juncture.
No, so we know she was super young,
Yeah,
teenage when
Kanan's
she got pregnant. So
16,
let's say
17.
she's 17 when she gets pregnant. Kanan's, for all intents and purposes, I think last season he was 15,
Yeah.
going on to 16. Remember, Kanan's not, she just got Kanan the whip, and I think he mentioned that he doesn't have a license yet. He's not old enough
Uh-huh.
to drive.
Uh-huh.
So, yeah,
Uh-huh.
that puts Rock about 32, 33.
So just imagine being such a young woman having to take over the weight of the business, run your family once your older brother is locked up and on that stuff. Now, again, we know there's a contentious relationship with she and her own mother. So now she becomes the parent to Lou now that Marvin is gone. And you are raising Juke and Kanan and a drug empire. I
Mm-hmm.
understand more and more why Rock is who she is. We flash back to Lou at the rehab, um, talking about feelings. I don't know if we did or not because I watched the finale right before.
Yeah,
Um,
yeah, yeah. I think
before
we
this.
might have talked about it in our season 3 recap, but yeah, that was at the end of season 3 when he's talking about that. Yeah.
Right. So we know that she is not somebody who is immersed in her feelings, even though we know that she feels things. But
She
she has.
says it at the, I'm sorry, the
Mhm.
final episode, the final scene of this episode. She gets into that same kind of bag.
Exactly that. I don't feel shit. I don't let it overtake me. It is what it is. I'm going to get mine. And as long as we know that that is where Rock's mine is, I'm going to get mine and I'm going to protect mine. That's it. We know, we learned that this isn't her first trip to the chop shop. And not only is it not her first time, but before, consider this is the early 90s. So 16, 17, 18 years ago when she did it when she was much younger, we know that you probably was in somebody's back alley and not
Mm-hmm.
in a facility. The
Shit, it was off
mental
the books.
is off the books. That mental fortitude to survive
Mm-hmm.
and dare I say thrive after all of that. Kanan is probably the only person that could break that lady. And that's why she fights so hard for him. Again, mother son
Took the words
relationship.
right out. Took the words right out of my mouth. When you learn that, it makes her, dare I say, obsession with
Yeah.
Kanan a lot more
Yes.
understandable. Because
Yes.
literally, you are my rainbow child. You are my miracle child in its own way.
Mm-hmm.
Like I,
Mm-hmm.
yeah, none of this was ever in the plan. So you all I got, you all I'm ever gonna have. Any possibility she keeps that child if she knows Unique's alive?
No.
Yeah, I still think she goes the same thing. Doesn't it tell
I,
him about it?
the she may or may not have told him about it, but here's the thing. Remember, Unique was still technically with Panessa.
Yeah, that's true. Unique might have been like, yo, stop playing with me.
Stop playing with me, older lady. Even though Unique was on Rock's head, it was a lie. I think the only way Rock keeps a baby if it was with that nigga from season one.
Symphony. Yeah, I
Symphony.
think the same thing. Shout out to
That's
Symphony.
the only way. That's the only chance for that baby to have a different life. With all the heat that's come on the Thomas family, there's no way that Raq brings another child into that, and somebody that she has to sit down for. You can sit down at 16 before you're really in the game, but sitting down at 33, 4, maybe at tops 5, you can't do that. Not when you know that you have to run this empire, you have to run your family, you have to keep your head on a swivel, because again, bringing us back to where we started, you just killed a cop, you and your son just killed another killer and drug dealer. War is coming, be it from Sweets and the other one.
Yeah, pops, crackles, whatever
Pops,
pops. Yeah,
snaps, like snap, crackle, and
yeah,
pop.
snaps. Yeah, I'm about to say something like that.
And fucking unbeknownst to y'all at this juncture is unique. But I went down that whole thing because I just wanted to talk about Juke.
Let's talk about Juke, but real quick,
Uh-huh.
since you're talking about Juke, this is the perfect time to just mention something random about this
Yeah.
show. You mentioned Marvin's his redemption story.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if y'all remember. Of course you remember, but I don't know the last time y'all thought about it. The fact, once again, going into why the show is so great
Mm-hmm.
and so well written. The fact that we don't just like Marvin, we love Marvin.
Love Marvin. Mm-hmm.
We never would have thought that when he was in there whooping Juke's ass in that
For sure.
room.
For
The
sure.
fact that he bounced back from that and is such a lovable character,
Yeah.
bravo to the writing room, because you ain't
For
supposed to
sure.
bounce back from that.
For
You're supposed to
sure.
be forever hated.
Most don't.
They did Marvin's character justice by
Yeah.
creating the storyline, and obviously London Brown's acting takes it over the top. I just wanted to shout that out because as you were talking, I just thought about it like, yo, we're supposed to hate this nigga.
Yeah. And we don't. And we don't.
Oh,
He's
man.
become
All right.
endearing. Even him apologizing to Juke. In the 80s, black parents ain't really apologized like that. It's still tricky.
I'm about to say in 2025 it's tricky.
So there's that, but him taking a genuine interest in her music career, in her life, wanting to fix things, him going to Keisha's funeral with Juke, him stepping to Keisha on behalf of Juke about that church shit, it all matters. Even after everything that they went through, the reality is that he is her only parent. Other than Raq, which I really, really, this episode, the fact that Raq called Juke to drive her from the abortion clinic speaks to their relationship. Because you could have caught a cab, this, that, and the third. You know what I'm saying? Like, if you really wanted to keep that under wraps like that, you could have. I appreciate the trust that she has with Juke, the confidant that she is, because they're the only two girls in this crazy world full of these men. The same way that Juke confides in Raq does the same thing, and I just appreciated just that level of comfort. And again, this is the first time we've seen Juke driving a car. Does Juke drive? We don't know, but I'm gonna call you to come. I can't drive. You cannot drive after an appointment.
Listen, it's New York City, man. They don't give a fuck about none of that, nigga. Can you see over the steering wheel? All right, start the key up and let's get shit pushed.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Not only did she drive her from the appointment, she tells her who the father is. And it's like, yeah, you can react because this is some crazy ass shit. Yes, I was pregnant by a nigga I've been trying to kill for all of these years. I know you didn't know I was fucking that nigga. I know.
Nope. Yep. Nobody knew. You're gonna have to do better than that. Like, you don't bullshit me. Here's the thing though, and I'm not asking for a prediction because we really don't know. That news is coming out. How it comes out, I have no idea because Juke is as solid as they come.
Yeah.
I don't know if it's some digging from the clinic or the medical side of things, because you can see they're trying to get her. I don't want to say counseling. emotional therapy, whatever you want to call it, to talk about this. Maybe there's a voicemail left on the answer machine. Miss Thomas, we really like for you to come back in for a session to
Yeah.
talk about your appointment. Maybe Kanan hears it. Maybe there's questions asked.
Mhm.
She's not gonna lie to Kanan. Well, take that back. She will lie to Kanan, but if pressed the right way, maybe in an attempt to this is my second chance of building a real relationship with my son. Maybe we need some rigorous honesty.
Yeah.
You know what I'm
Yeah.
saying? Maybe we
For
need
sure.
that. So maybe I do keep it a buck with them. And
For
maybe at
sure.
that point, they know that Unique is alive and it could be a whole plot to, you know what, we got to take this nigga out. I don't know. That's a whole little rabbit hole. I don't know how it's going to work out. But
I like that.
I say all that to say we
I like
know that
that.
when you see things like this in television shows, they're not telling us. We knew as viewers that Rock was pregnant because we saw it. Her
Yeah.
telling Juke is letting us know that this news is coming out. You
Yeah.
don't drop a bombshell like that without it rearing its head at some
Mhm.
point. So we'll see how
Mhm.
that plays out.
Yeah, I would be very curious because now you got me thinking. You got me thinking about how that's going to come out. I might have a prediction next week if it doesn't happen, but we will see. Um, we get a little background of Juke and Aisha. Again,
Mm-hmm.
we know at the end of last season, Aisha and Juke became a thing, and Juke was like, "Bitch, I didn't know that this was funny because
Right.
once you Kanan, when you with my cousin, shady."
Mm-hmm.
But again, you saw it, but you didn't see while you're over there talking to Lulu. You didn't see me asking Kanan about you and asking about Nicole. I appreciate Kanan looking like, bitch, how you know about Nicole?
You
What you
didn't.
what
Oh.
are we talking about? Like, I had to clean it up. Happy to be here with you though. Yeah, I see you side eye. And again,
Mm-hmm.
fall back to power when we meet Juke and Kanan is recovering at Juke's house in Baltimore. And we learn that this is not the first time that they've shared a woman. Hello, Aisha.
Aisha, you are the girl that I never had. That's a great callback,
Yeah,
by the way, to the
yeah.
original Power in that
Uh-huh.
scene.
Uh-huh.
That's a great callback. That's why
Mhm.
you're so good at this, Rachel. Um, yeah. So once again, because it's a new season,
Mhm.
I had to catch myself as I'm
Yeah.
watching scenes and remind myself this is a flashback. This is
Yes.
not currently going on. So
Yes.
yes, y'all just bandmates, group mates, whatever you want to call it, with Butter, but you had her house eating dinner because you know
Crazy.
like there's something going on around here.
Yeah.
Obviously, that's just to kind of show the relationship between them. We obviously get the questions from her parents about what's your next move, what do you want to do, yada yada yada. That's just more foreshadowing of what we should be expecting. And we know Aisha wants to go to Spelman.
Yes.
It's been her dream to go to Spelman. I feel like that was part of the end of season 3, but no, maybe not because they're in the group. I
Yeah,
feel like
but
somebody went to college or something.
I want to say Aisha might be going to Spelman because remember at the end of season 3, um, Butter is essentially disbanded because Juke is called in by the police at their mall performance because
That's
of
right.
everything that goes on with the Thomas family. So
That's
the
right.
dream
That's
is
right.
deferred.
That's right. That's right. And obviously, we know that Juke, when we first meet Juke ever in season 4, Power, I believe that was, um, we know that she's a cop in DC.
Yeah,
We see her meet with Nicole's dad, which
yeah,
I love the fact that they still have a relationship.
for sure,
I
for
love the
sure.
fact that you can tell Nicole's dad really, and I'm sure obviously it's a connection to his daughter
Yeah,
because he knew how much his daughter loved Juke and vice versa. Um, as my uncle always says, I love people who love the people I love.
that's it.
Um,
That's it.
and none of it was for show.
Yeah,
I believe that man is gonna go out there and buy those 20 records.
for sure.
I believe that he really likes the name. I think everything about him is genuine. And he answers the question, about the military and keeps it real with her. Like, yo, this shit is a little bit conservative. Remember, we're talking about 1991 right now.
Yeah,
Don't ask, don't tell. All of that was a real thing.
and obviously he knows.
Obviously, he knows. I don't think this is something you need to be getting yourself into. You have a whole bright future in front of you.
Mhm.
There's got to be other options. But Juke is genuinely curious about it. But the whole scene was mainly about, I'm catching up, but I want to know more about the military because we do see, if you watch the previews, boot camp and things like that. So Juke does proceed. How does she go from that to a cop? I'm sure we'll end up finding out. Maybe not this season, but as time goes along. But obviously, it seems like a natural step, right? You in the
Yeah, that's what I
military,
was
you
gonna say.
become a
The
cop. I think it's
military
fair.
police pipeline is alive and
Well,
well. I
I guess
want.
what I should have said was I wonder if is how does her military career end?
Oh yeah, I
Are,
definitely want to
are,
know that.
are you dishonorably discharged?
Not and they let her be a cop.
That's fair. That's
Yeah,
fair.
no, no, no,
I'm
no,
curious to know how
no,
that is.
no, no. But not just that. We just sang the praises of Marvin's character arc, and again, as we call back to Power, we understand that Juke is a crooked cop,
Mm-hmm.
like your play Uncle Malcolm Howard
Mm-hmm.
ish. But we just sang Marvin's praises about his character and his development as a man, as a father, this, that, and the third. Despite all of the hurt, Juke has been a bright light her whole life. She's been the good one, quote unquote. She's
Mm-hmm.
been the one to keep her nose clean, minus boosting some clothes. No harm, no foul.
Yeah, man.
But
Be like
now
that sometimes.
it be like that sometimes. You got to be fly. But now we know of Juke's demise in Power, but the person that she came to be, shout out to Anika Noni Rose as adult Juke, who is such the inverse, the total opposite of the Juke that
Right.
we watched grow up. So to your point, I'm very curious to see what shifted that. Is it just the dream deferred? Did something happen in the military? Is it what saying you got to come out? This is I'm in the family business. It is what it is. Is it go setting up Kanan to go to jail? Like, what is the trigger that pushes beautiful, beautiful Laverne Jukebox Thomas into
Mm-hmm.
Big Juke, the kidnapper?
That's a great thing. And it makes me sad watching Raising Kanan makes me sad at how things ended between Rock and Juke, or not Rock and Juke, but Kanan and Juke, man. Shout out to Princess Tiana, man. Um,
Yeah.
Shout out to Princess Tiana, man. Y'all doing my girl dirty, man. Shout out to Anika Noni Rose. Um, yeah, we'll see what happens with Juke as we go along. And honestly, as we get things wrapped, the only other thing I really want to talk about in detail,
Hmm.
Marvin.
Yeah.
We talk about his redemption story. Anytime you take those private calls, anytime that, hey, let's keep this between me and you, as we say, things can get a little bit interesting, and that might not be the path that you want to go down. Obviously, there is some sense of pride of I'm the oldest boy. Um, as Kendall Roy would yell out.
Yeah.
There's a sense of I'm the oldest child. There's a sense of my sister doesn't run me. I don't need her permission for every single thing. I am I'm for hire, right?
Hmm.
I can be, if you need something done and it fits my expertise and skills, then sure, I can go ahead and do it. So Stefano, evil Tony Danza, reaches out and we see the phone call and we don't know who's on the other end, but Marvin's on something. You sure you don't want to talk to my sister?
Yeah.
I bet I'm gonna pull up on you. Now in season 3, as we know, Marvin got some people up out of there when he was disguised as the postman, and got a rival gang, the leader. Um,
Put down.
yeah, put down. Evil Tony Danza now says, "Hey, my daughter. Things happen. Anybody seen The Godfather? Hey, once a woman's married, that's her husband's business. You kind of stay out of it. However, you're not about to be out here running around town
Embarrassing me.
making my daughter look, yeah, me and her, because my name is my name,
Yeah.
right? Not about to play with me like that. Ask Marvin to go ahead and have a discussion with him. We see Marvin getting his rusty on. I say that because if you watch Ocean's 11, Brad Pitt's character is always eating. Marvin eats in every scene, obviously in Raising Kanan. Watching this man not giving a fuck.
Yeah.
Nigga, straight out the club, not even pulling out. Like, well, he did pull out, whipped it out on her.
My lord.
Without pulling off, right here in front, by the sidewalk. You can walk by and see I'm getting neck dinners.
Mm-hmm.
Marvin's in the back saying, this dude really don't give a fuck. Like, I see why Stefano really wants to get him up out of here. Secrets and listen, Marvin is good at his job.
Mm-hmm.
Pulls up on him and his friends. Obviously, he wasn't expecting his friends. Keeps it playing. All right, man, I'm lost. I ain't here. All right, bet. Okay, I'm gonna run into you again. Runs into him at the hockey rink.
Mm-hmm.
Beats him down. Puts the blade to his neck and pretty much lets him know, like, nigga, all that shit with you cheating on your wife in public, that shit's deaded right now.
Yeah.
We find out from a later meeting, Stefano tells Marvin, I don't know what you said to him, but he just booked the cruise for him and the wife. I just told him, man, good woman's hard to find.
Yeah.
The whole point of all this, especially in a world like Power, especially with a woman like Raq, secrets and surprises will never go well. What do you think's gonna happen when Raq finds out that Marvin is taking secret work? I was gonna say secret white meetings. I swear, that's why I stopped myself. Doing secret work for Stefano and getting in bed with the Italians. And Stefano told him, listen, I owe you one. And trust me, that's a good thing for you.
Good thing. Okay, well, you such a nigga. Stefano is crazy.
Yeah.
Stefano.
Oh, shit. The fact I just immediately thought of D. Ray Davis on you know what? You was a nigga. And I don't mean that in no good way. Rachel, I would have spent the entire season calling this nigga Stefano.
I know. I know.
Stefano.
So
go ahead.
I think a couple things. To answer your question, Raq is going to be pissed because even though it's not an act of aggression, it's not an act against her, she's going to take it as betrayal.
Yeah.
And moving against the family or moving outside of the family. Period. Now, as we know, this is a flashback. Is Marvin's additional work a part of the reason Stefano agrees to give Raq the bread to handle the Kanan situation?
Of course, absolutely. That might be the favor that he owes.
Correct.
Because I was going to say, whatever the favor is going to be something that benefits the entire Thomas family.
For sure.
Right. And like you said, as you mentioned Raq's reaction whenever she does find out, maybe not betrayal, but close to it. Because I mentioned this earlier, infamous scene with her and Lou at the house. Your peace was always my peace.
That's it.
That's how, yes, he was saying it to Lou, but she feels that way about
everybody.
Marvin as well, through anybody. Like, you have it because I gave it to you.
That's it.
Don't ever get that twisted. I allow you to have this, right? Now you going out and getting your own work. No, that's my shit too.
Yeah.
Everything gets taxed.
That's it.
That's how this world works. All the money rolls upstream, shit rolls down.
That's it. You got to pay what you render to Caesar, all your taxes.
Straight up, man. Straight up. So that's going to be something to keep your eye on. Once again, great reminder. That's a flashback. This happened months ago.
Yeah.
Who knows what's going on between Stefano and Marvin? And I think you tied it up perfectly. I think we will find out that the favor to even let that in unbeknownst to us, is, hey, I've been putting in work for you.
For sure.
Because you don't just ask somebody like Marvin, who's very skilled at what he does, for the one thing.
That's it. This is going to be a continuous flow. It's like a water drip, a faucet drip.
Mm-hmm. Yep. So now I need you for another thing. Now I need you for another thing. And then I guarantee you it's going to get to the point where Marvin says, hey, man, that's it. I'm done. Ain't no done, my nigga.
It ain't no done.
Ain't no done.
You cannot unring that bell once you do that.
Yep, you got to be careful. So that kind of wraps up the episode as far as everything goes and what we saw in the premiere for season 4. Couple small things that I want to leave out with, right? Things that weren't discussed that we know are going to play a storyline. One of them just a random observation. I wonder if the show did this on purpose. As unique as at Early's crib, there's no way it's a coincidence that he was watching Raq.
Not at all. Yeah.
Right, with Raq being Raq and him to be, there's no coincidence they're watching Raq. I think that was pretty clever. Obviously, one of 50 Cent's lyrics, probably arguably 50 Cent's best song, Many Men. A lyric from that is in this episode when Lou was talking to Kanan, death gotta be easy because life is fucking hard.
Yeah.
Obviously, there's no the fucking is not in the lyric, but same thing. So as soon as I heard it, I'm like, oh shit. 2 big things that I just want to ask you about. Just get your thoughts on briefly. Nicole's name keeps getting mentioned. We see her dad in this episode. Anything to take from this? Is this something that's going to be a continuous talking point? Is this going to lead to something major in regard to what really happened? And is this going to be unveiled?
I don't think so, because last season the dad told the mom who he divorced and the police to drop it.
That's fair. That's fair. If anything, it's going to be very minor, and it's going to be something between Aisha and Juke, not anything that's going to have major ramifications.
For sure.
Because Aisha doesn't even know that Nicole is deceased.
Yes, she does.
I thought she just thought, oh, does she? She did tell her she died. She just doesn't know how. Okay, I couldn't remember if she told him that, hey, we broke up. I think maybe she initially told her we broke up, and then she finally told her. Either way,
she passed. Yeah.
The only other thing, and there's really nothing to comment about because we don't know enough yet, but obviously one of the biggest storylines that they set up for season 4, we see him very, 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 very briefly at the beginning of this episode. The fuck is going on with Famous?
Yeah.
Got to keep an eye on Famous, because Famous is the one thread that can have this whole thing crumbling down. We'll see how that plays out.
Famous ain't going to jail.
Famous, the last place Famous is going to jail.
Streets need a body, and Kanan has to kill Famous. See y'all next week.
We got y'all. We out. Peace. Holla.
You really want to end it like that?
We out.
Early.
See y'all next week. We got y'all. Peace.
Bye.